All right, let's just hold on a few seconds. I see some people joining us already. Cool. All right, I would like to welcome everyone. My name is Thiago. I'm a customer success manager here at TagoIO. And today we're going to be talking about adding smart scripts to IoT applications. We'll introduce the concept used to create scripts using the TagoIO analysis. And with me today, I have Guilherme. Guilherme is a software developer here at TagoIO. He works mostly with applications, and he's going to share some really great insight with us. And I would like to remind all of you, please feel free to answer questions on the Q&A. I'll leave the Q&A open as per now. And also feel free to present yourselves on the chat. And I hope that you find this information very useful. All right, Guilherme, you got it.
Thank you, Thiago. So, hello everyone, welcome. So today we're gonna talk about the smart scripts. It's basically an overview about the analysis on TagoIO. I will be explaining how the analysis works. So let's get started. We have the agenda for the welcome, which is a basic greetings that we just did. Um, Analysis overview, I will talk a little bit about the scope, the context, all the information that comes to analysis that you can use. I'll talk about what is the analysis, what you can do with analysis. I'll talk a little bit about tokens. So we have 4 types of tokens. We'll cover that. We'll have Node.JS SDK documentation for point 4. Also, we have Python. I'll be explaining this as well. Have analysis, context, and scope, actions and widgets. I'll be covering actions on a very high level here. Talk a little bit how you can trigger the analysis and why you need to trigger the analysis. External analysis, you also can run it externally, and by default, it runs on TagoIO Cloud. I will be explaining that. Then we'll have a hands-on on how to generate a CSV report. I prepared that as well. And then finally, we have a Q&A section that I will take back the word to Thiago, and then we can, if you have any questions, you can feel free to put that on the chat. Okay, so analysis overview. Basically, the analysis a way that you can process data, manipulate data that comes from your sensor, or if you have any configuration data, let's say if you want to create a user dynamically, or you want to create device dynamically, not only on the TagoIO, tago.admin.tago.io backend, but on your run. If you want to end users to create that dynamically, you can accomplish that. Or for example, if you want to reach out to externally APIs such as maybe a weather forecast API, or maybe you want to fetch data from your another database or any integration that you want. It is possible to use analysis. You can trigger an analysis through an action, a widget, or another analysis. For example, let's say if your device sends an uplink with the content temperature and you want to do an average with that, it is possible. So it is through action. The action will listen to that event, and if it matches with the certain event, let's say analysis and temperature is anything, or if temperature is greater than 30, to trigger the analysis will receive the scope, which is the sensor information. You can then manipulate that information to maybe do an average, or to input that information on a alert table log, for example. And there is multiple ways to do that, and there is multiple use case that can be covered that will be up to your application. Widget and another analysis, an example for widget is, let's say that you have an input form and then you fill up with the name of the user and the permission that that user will have, let's say administrator or a manager. You can input maybe the email of the user, the any description and information or extra information, and then and when you hit submit, you can configure the widget to trigger an analysis. Basically, we'll have the field there when you click, and then you enable run analysis, you select analysis, and that analysis will receive in the scope the information sent by that input form. And on other analysis, the example is, let's say if you have an analysis that like an uplink handler, when you receive an uplink, you trigger an analysis, and then that analysis trigger another analysis. Let's say if you want to send a link to your device, then it will be triggered through an analysis. By the way, that downlink script is available on our code snippet. You can see right here, we have snippets and it's available in there as well. Can be set to run externally, which means in your machine. So by default, TagoIO Analysis is set to run on cloud, on TagoIO Cloud, meaning that it will run on TagoIO servers. But if you want to any meetings to run that externally, you can do it so for debugging, fixing any issues, or if you want to run it on your machine and doesn't run it on the cloud, it is possible as well. Also, we have memory size limit of 2 MB, which is very fair. Support to TagoIO SDK. So it is already built in this environment here, the TagoIO SDK library. So basically that means that you just need to import that library user require, and then you are good to go. Okay, so token types, we basically essentially have 4 tokens types. The master one, the higher level one is the account token. This is very sensitive information, meaning that if anyone stole or gets that account token of your account, if you I don't know if you pushes on a repository, on a public repository on GitHub, a account token publicly, they can get information from your account. So be careful with this. Also, and the account token has permission to see end devices, information from your buckets, pretty much any information on your account, files, run users, dashboards, actions, and so on. For the device token, it's a specific token for the device. It's a device level, so you have only access to the device information. You can get data, delete data, send data, get info from that device, and so on. So it's a device level token. Network token will have the permission to see any device or any information of device that is under that network. It's a group of device. Analysis token, you can use that to run externally or have SMS or email services available there as well. Okay, you have Node.JS SDK. So SDK stands for Software Developer Kit. Basically, it's a toolbox where you can take tools there that have been coded to be more, let's say, high level. For example, take a look on this line over here. Const my device equals to new device token. If you don't have any knowledge on programming language at all, if anyone have any knowledge, they can see this and understand, at least understand what it's talking about. So we are getting a new device. So that's what a high level language is, right? You can take a look and it can easily, for a human readable language, you can understand it. And the SDK helps you, facilitate you to get calls ready. So I encourage you guys to take a look there. So it's js.sdk.tago.io. Take a look there, and that will help you a lot when building analysis. We also, it's important to say that we also have the SDK for Python. So it's py.sdk.tago.io, which is available for installing with pip as well. So it requires you to use an account token, device token, or network token. Basically, if you want to instantiate a device, you need to use the device token. For you to understand every call, this is a snapshot for the TagoIO SDK site. This is all documented. You can click on all the methods, all the classes to understand what you need to provide to every call. And also you can use this, of course, on any other projects, standalone projects. Meaning that if you have a website, a front-end website, you can display information of a location of any variables that you have on the TagoIO buckets. Let's say if you have a tracker that sends information to your bucket, you can fetch that information and display on other websites. Can also use, let's say if you have a server and you need like a meteor, you need to process data before sending to Tago, then you can you can install the SDK there as well to manipulate data, to fetch other data from other buckets and so on, or to send data then after the meteor to TagoIO account. We have analysis, context, and scope. This is very important because the scope and context are the ones that provides information to your analysis. So basically, if you want to manipulate data from your sensor, you need to get that variable somewhere that places the scope, where you find for certain variables or find for the specific information that you need. The context will hold pretty much the environment variables, analysis ID, and analysis token. Also, if it is triggered by an action, it will show the action ID, the widget ID, dashboard ID, so on. So it's extra information. The scope is the variables that are relevant to your analysis. Let's say if your analysis has been triggered by an action, then you will receive the uplink from that action, that condition that was triggered by the action. Let's say if you set the action to be triggered to listen for a condition like temperature greater than 30. If your device sends 31, then that uplink containing the 31 reading will be sending to your analysis, will be trigger your analysis and send that on the scope. So you can get that information and manipulate it somehow. We have two more points there: resource information, such as device, user, if using an action resource as well. And for MQTT message, it sends the MQTT as well. So it's pretty much valuable information that you need to run your analysis. Actions and widgets. Here there is two snapshots. The left one is the action. Has been set up an action there to listen for the device, my device, and the condition is temperature is anything. So if my device sends anything with the variable temperature, it will trigger the analysis sample. So that's a way that you can trigger your analysis. And this analysis over here will display on the scope. Of course, that you also can use like a snippet on TagoIO called Hello World, which will print the scope. You can do it to test as well, but on action, the scope will be the device uplink, mainly the device uplink. And for this snapshot here on the right side, this is triggered by a widget. You can set up a input form, and then you can set the submit button on the top, the bottom right side here. You can click over the button, and then you will see this sidebar panel here. So when clicked, you can set up it to enable the run analysis. And then what you need to do is to select an analysis. For example, analysis sample here. So every time that your end user or any user click on the form to submit, it will run the analysis sample. Again, let's say if you want to create, let's say if you want to create an user, or if you want to create an alert on the run side, then you just need to set up a form and input the relevant information for you to create that alert. And then once the user hits submit, it will run an analysis that will fetch that information from the input. Again, it will be displayed on the scope. You take all that information, manipulate it, take actions on your script, and then you create the alert, basically. External analysis. This section here is just to let you know that it is possible as well to run your analysis externally. For JavaScript, for example, you need a node environment set up. Then you can easily copy the code that it is on your TagoIO here text tool, and then you just paste it to your VS Code or any other software, and then you can run it externally. You need to switch to external. By default, TagoIO analysis set to run in cloud. Then you need the analysis token, just copy it, paste to your account, your code. Usually in the end, there is a command line saying if you want to run it externally using the TagoIO snippets. On the bottom, you have to use this script externally, please consider the next line. And then it is a instantiation of a analysis class with a token where you need to paste your token there. Then you just need to run that file, and then triggering somehow the analysis on TagoIO so then your scripting on your machine can be run. That's pretty much it. Okay, so now we'll have a hands-on. I'll be showing how to generate a CSV reports. We'll be following the GitHub repository on the link on the top there. So in this section, we will learn about I will show a analysis code example. We'll be triggering the analysis through a widget, and then also we'll be using the environment variables. I will also covering this, so you can see that this can be helpful for you. Okay, so let's get into it. I prepared this dashboard over here, which is an example that we have. You can visit our website or see the available dashboard that we have. this is one template available there. Is ice cream machine and freezer dark blue. Basically, this dashboard should display the information about a freezer, a temperature, variables, compressor status, door status, and so on. I've also created a device, my freezer, should be inputting information every 5 minutes, I guess. This is a freezer simulator. It's also available for you. If you click device, add device, you can click over here, simulator. The simulator will be pushing data every X minutes. I guess it is 5. For the freezer simulator, frequency and time, 3 minutes, correction here. And there is the variables that it sends. So I've set up this to show you the spreadsheet report example. So let's visit the GitHub repository, explore, generate report. This is public. You can get this code as well. So I will follow this. We will see that it is very straightforward for you to explore any analysis public repositories that we have on our GitHub. Feel free to explore TagoIO as well. Have a cool public repository there that can help you to build your application. So let's scroll down. We have the README, and then I will scroll a little bit down. There is more information here. Feel free to read it. So the first thing that it's saying here that we need to get the code under generate report.js. I will take this. And also it is saying for us to set up the environment variables. Basically, this information will be helpful to instantiate the device and should take the information from that device. So token is pretty much a key, right? The password. So we can have access to the device information and for the account to send us the email containing the report. Here you have extra information, and also we need to set up a widget to trigger that script. Okay, so again, clicking over here, generate reports. I will grab this code. I'll click on analysis. I will create a new analysis, webinar, smart scripts, generating CSV reports. I will set to Node.js. It is available for Python as well. So if you are familiar with Python, feel free to try the Python environment. But for this example, since it is a JavaScript code, we need to use the Node.js environment. I will not set up for a code example. I will just show you that there is a hello world here that is maybe helpful for you, because it only showing the context on the console, the context and the scope. So this might be helpful for you. For example, if you want to trigger by an action or by a widget, and then you want to see the scope, you just need to take this. This is all set up, the basics. But for this example, I will paste the code that I get from the repository, CSV generate report, repo. I will explain this code later on. I will just click on save. Be careful when you do a change here. Remember to click on save. One thing that we need to do here is to set up the environment variables. So have device token, dashboard ID, and account token. I will do this on my other screen since this is sensitive information. What we need to do is Just 1 minute. What we need to do is to create these 3 environment variables, because we'll get that information on our analysis code later on. So if you don't know how to get your account token, go to docs.tago.io. We'll see our knowledge center. You can search for how to get the account token, for example. And here it is explaining how to get it. I'll set my account token, set my device token, and the dashboard ID. The device token will be the device that you want to generate a report. On this example, we get temperature and humidity variables for the report. So you need to have, I took the my freezer token. So you can click over here, copy token, and then you will have the token. And then just paste there on the device token on the environment variables. And then what we need to do, remember to click on save here to save all the information. What we need to do is set up a widget. So in this case will be the import form to trigger that analysis. So this, I have already prepared this, but I will show the structure. Basically we need the email. And we need, if you want to, you can set up a validation field as well. I will show on the code, right? It shows that it needs an email and it has support to a validation, but this is pretty much the structure that you need in order to trigger that analysis. Click over here on generate or the submit button. You can see that when clicked, I've enabled the run analysis and I will select the webinar smart scripts generate CSV, which is the analysis that we just prepared. I will click on click save. And then what do we need to do? Well, let's take a look on the analysis before we generate. I will go over this real quick. First line here is importing from the TagoIO SDK all classes that we need. I will minimize this and also this and also this. So we have three functions. First one is a normal function, and we have 2 async functions. And then we have a module dot exports and a initialization of analysis class sending the explorer function. Again, if you don't know what this means, which will be probably your case, you will need to check on our SDK, which explains all the calls from our SDK. For example, we are using the analysis class, also on the use method, which is describing here. We pass an analysis function, and this will be the starting point. So basically, we can see also what we receive on that analysis. What do we need to set up a context and a data? You will see that it is similar here on our code. So basically, we send it a function, and that function accepts context and scope. Basically, here is context and data, which is same thing. That scope will be an array containing TagoIO structure objects. Feel free to search on our documentation to understand the TagoIO object structure as well. Basically, this code initiates the environment variables, initiate the classes, device, and account. We get our customer email on our scope, so we need to send this somehow. The email, I create the input form with the variable email. It needs to be like this email, and then we can send the report and also include the email, and then we'll check for this function over here. And also we can see that the device data is fetched through the token that we pass. So that is the reference. That's where the analysis will fetch the data from. What else that we have? And then we have this validate as well, which has the function there on top. We'll see this as well. So let's take a look on the send report function. This is basically so I'm getting the variables temperature and humidity from the device, storing on data, and we are creating the CSV string. So CSV is a comma separated string, right? So the comma is the columns and the inverted /n is the rows. So we are creating that string. And then what we need to do is instantiate the mail service and send the CSV string as our attachment here. And then we just call email service.send, and then we send that information. Again, if you don't know what to place here on the object or to that function, to that call, you just need to take a look on the SDK so you can understand what we can include, what we need to include. Finally, for the validation here, this is basically sending for that variable a value, which will be a message, and the message type, which is the success and danger and a warning is available as well. This is behavior from the input form. So if you want to understand how the input form and the validation type of field works, take a look at our documentation or knowledge center. Okay, and then after the validation, we return. And also, if there is no customer email, we return a validation saying no email address provided, and then a danger type. Okay, so let's get back. As I set as my email here, below this, set my email here, I will hit generate. We should see a validation here, report successfully generated. Please check your email. Then this is a green, so this is a type success. I've received the email here. I'll open and show you. Okay, there we go. We can see that we receive with this subject tag report. We can see that the sender was reports at TagoIO. Hi, this is an example of a report, and then you have a link to download the file. When you click it, we'll receive a CSV file. You can open it, and there we go. All the information listed from that bucket. We have a lot of variables here. 411 variables. We can increase the zoom. Temperature 10, and then we can see that the degrees has broken. I'm not sure why, but you can remove the degrees symbol, or Google to understand why this has broke. And also we receive the data here. It is in UTC time zone. You can also change this to be at your time zone. You will deal on this on your scripts here, on your analysis, that customization, for example. And that's pretty much it for the practice. I'll take the word back to Thiago.
Hi, Guilherme. Thanks for the presentation. Really love how to understand a little bit more about analysis, and definitely with this intro, definitely a great guide. So we can start doing the greater things like remove from a CVS now to a PDF report and manage users and create different alerts and more. I'm pretty sure that we can combine, like you said, different analysis for different scenarios. For example, you could immediately generate a CSV on demand, or you can, one of the questions that I have here is, can I set a PDF or a CSV to be sent automatically, like every day or every week? Is that possible?
Yes, it is possible. So if you want to statically set up this, you can create an action. That action will be a schedule type. Let's see if I have an example. Okay, we have an example here. You can set up it by a date. So every date, and this will repeat, will trigger that analysis. So this one approach, but if you want this to be more dynamically, and if you want to make it available for the end user to create it and set up on their own, you can create an analysis to create this action. And also you use the SDK to understand how to create the action. It's basically the example on how to create a device dynamically or users dynamically. You also can create actions dynamically, and you can make it possible for the end user to create that. But that will be the overview, that will be the concept. So you'll be pretty much being set up an action to schedule type to run that script that will generate the PDF or CSV report.
Very nice. So that's actually great info. So let's say I have an administrator of the platform and I want him to issue one type of PDF. And then I have the end user and I want this guy to have a different type of PDF, an end user type. I can actually set two different types and plug into the application, and depending on their login, they'll actually see that information coming through. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Chayo. Also, that if we have an example of this on the Kickstarter. So if you want to take a look at our Kickstarter, there is example on how to generate alerts or reports by demand and by schedule.
Very cool.
This is the idea.
Through the user interface.
Yes, that's right.
Really awesome. All right. On my side here, I don't have any other questions. So I would like to thank Guilherme for putting this presentation together. I would like to thank everyone that participated, and see everyone on the next webinar. Have a great one.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.